the music. Stop the music. Episode 1 million of the Fatherland. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. And yes, the crazy episode number should be a clue. Only 90s comic book fans will get that reference. Hat tip to Roscoe, because I know he will. Yes, I regret to inform you that the Fatherland has come to an end. I can't do the show anymore. Maybe one day I will be able to again, but right now, no. So why is this? Well, I didn't want to just leave without saying goodbye, so that's why I'm doing this episode 1 million. So I'm going to lay it all out. At least everything that's appropriate for me to lay out. The main reason is, frankly, because my marriage is in a crisis situation. And doing this show was part of the problem and has been for a long time. I mean, I guess I should just start at the top and say mea culpa, mea maximo culpa, my fault, my most grievous fault. It's all my fault. I fucked up in a lot of ways. Probably the biggest way that I did was by tackling this project without having a really rock solid marriage as the foundation. Instead, what I had was like one of those Japanese paper houses, you know. Just everything looked good, but tsunami comes through, and next thing you know, you're basically living in one of those picnic enclosures that you go to at the park, you know, like all the walls are gone. Yeah, like that was basically the main problem. You know, when I get in front of this microphone, I kind of forget everything else other than me talking, and also if I'm talking to other people, then I focus on them. I have a little piece that I have split off to think about doing a good show and trying to keep the conversational flow going and keeping track of time and all that stuff. And I know I'm not great about it, but you know, I do still try. But the point is that I basically just sit here and talk and without and have no thought at all to the things that I'm saying. It's basically just whatever I'm thinking. No filter. And I think that was probably a big reason why I got such a response out of doing the show. Because it was so real for that reason. But the trade-off there was that sometimes I crossed the line. I said things that I should not have said, especially with regards to my wife. And, you know, I'm not an emotionally complete person, if you hadn't figured that out yet. And so a lot of this is confusing to me, and it's it makes it hard to try to navigate these particular shoals, and it yeah, it's just hard and for me. And so you know, I basically ended up in a situation where my wife would not refuse to listen to my show. And not because she was being a woman and just didn't care, but because she was afraid of what she might hear about herself. And it got to the point where I wanted to include her in this world that I had explored, sort of pioneered my way into, and tried to build up a network of people and a community, because I do think that that is the solution to our problems in general, as a race, as a people, as a nation. And I, of course, wanted to include my wife and my family in that, and she was never really interested in it because she was afraid of what people had heard me say about her on my show. And now a lot of that was her own insecurities, obviously. If you guys have been listening to my show, that you know that I really did make an effort to not really talk a lot of shit about her on the show. But I still did sometimes, and those times were when just randomly she would decide to listen, or, in one particular case, a very helpful guy mentioned to her something out of context that I had said that pushed the exact button of her insecurities and threw us into our marriage into a crisis situation for an entire weekend afterwards. Those who were there know who I'm talking about. I have been debating back and forth before recording this whether I want to name and shame this asshole. However, it seems like he has abandoned the internet, so if that's the case, for real, then I'm just going to let it lie. The one enemy that I have made in my entire time doing this thing, and he has quit the field, so I will just let it lie. There's no need for it now. No need to warn people about this toxic asshole who just seems to leave a trail of broken relationships wherever he goes. Anyway, so yeah, and it always kind of hurt me that my wife could not listen to my show. She couldn't participate in the wider world, and I didn't understand why, really, because I'm dumb. Well, at least emotionally dumb. So, that dampened my enthusiasm, but I kept it up because of you, the fans who are listening to this. And also because of all the great people that I had met at times that I was able to go out and meet people. I felt like I was doing something positive. Really, I felt like I was doing the most important thing I'd ever done in my life. And I hate to give it up, but I have to. It's what marriage is about, really, is about sacrifice. So, yeah. So, I am going to attempt to post this. I think my RSS feed should still be active as I speak, but it won't be for long. So I would recommend strongly to you that if you are hearing this off of the RSS feed, that you immediately download any episodes that you want to have for yourself right now, because it will be going away very soon. If you missed that, I'm also going to be posting this to the YouTube channel. and I don't know. I might take it down. I might not. YouTube might take it down because I'm going for all the copyright strikes tonight. We'll see what happens. So far, I haven't gotten a lot of attention. I never do. But uh, just to just to let you folks know, and yeah, it's really not for any other reason um, that I'm quitting other than I feel like this is part of what I need to do to repair and hopefully strengthen my marriage. You know, uh, got another kid on the way, almost 6 months in. It's going to be soon, going to be sometime this fall, probably around November, I think. Yeah, um, you know. So I think what I should do now is I had a couple of ideas for what I wanted to do with episode 1 million. So I think what I'll do now is I will start it off with all of the things that I love about my wife. Just in case I never made that clear enough when I was doing the show. Seems to my memory it was always me complaining about some stupid thing that she'd done. Because, I don't know, it made for a good show discussion and it was funny, and I also felt it was relatable, most married guys. When we're all around each other talking as men, we might bitch about our wives a little bit. So, all the things that I love about my wife. I think probably the number one thing I love about my wife is her strength. She is the strongest person I've ever met in terms of her willpower and determination, and frankly, her ability to dominate other lesser willed people, myself included. It's amazing to me. She's that lady that wants to talk to your manager. You know, she does that all the time. And you know what? As much as we might not like those kind of women, when they're in your corner and they're fighting over the money that you made, that you went out to a job and that you had to work hard to earn, it's a little different. Um, she very often would get what I would call the Schwoogie tax refund. People talk about the Schwoogie tax. Well, she would get the Schwoogie tax refund. You know how you get like your tax refund? Yeah, she managed to have that happen in so many ways, just through her own grit and determination. And that's always impressed me about her. I wish I had her strength. It probably would make me a better husband and father. To just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but yeah. I also liked how well we seem to work together as a team. We're not always great about that, but when we're on, we're on. I think I talked on the show about how, as a birthday present for her, I know she's always wanted to do one of these escape room things that are a trend now, and I know, yeah. Bugman, hipster, okay, whatever. She's always wanted to do one of those, and they're expensive, but I got a deal on the Groupon, and so I said, okay, let's do this. And that was a lot of fun. And it was fun not just because I like solving puzzles and she likes solving puzzles, but because we had to work together to do it. And, it was weird because there was like all the tension just went away, all the weird tension that we have between each other because of all of our unresolved issues. Instead, it was just, hey, we need to figure out what the code is to this combination lock, so we can escape the room, right? And I mean, it's dumb, but at the same time, it allowed us to focus just completely on these seemingly meaningless tasks, and it gave us space to just kind of be more normal as a married couple. And that was a great evening. We didn't win, by the way. I think if I didn't mention that, no, but it wasn't our fault, frankly. Uh, they had defective equipment at that place. From what I've seen, that's a problem with a lot of these escape rooms. Where their equipment is kind of fishy and can fail you, even if you got the right answer. You know, but it was what it was, and you know what, it was still a fun experience, regardless. Um, I must have talked about that on the show because I swear I remember talking about the gender queer guy that who was our monitor that evening, because most they watch you on video, and then they can hear you talking, and they'll give you hints as you go through. Actually, for being a completely ovenable weirdo, nice fellow. So it's just, I don't know, it's just the way things are around here. So what else? My wife has very expressive eyes. I've always liked her eyes. Sure, they're brown, hazel, really. But that aside, she always has had very expressive eyes, and she always has had the raccoon eyes just naturally, which I find very attractive. Uh, Not everybody's taste, I know, but I like it. I like her willingness to go along with the program, at least most of the time. Her goals in life. She went to college, but she never really finished it. She wasn't really interested in it. Really, what she wanted to be was a wife and a mother, and a housewife at that. And I was able to give her that, and I was just happy that I don't have to worry about her being dissatisfied with these things because she's going to regret not getting her PhD in medieval literature or whatever, you know. So that's been good. Um, what else? I think those are really the major things. Um, I don't know. I don't feel like I can say it that this is something about her, but I don't know. Just the emotional connection that I have to her, it really doesn't make a lot of sense in some ways. But like I said, I'm not really a complete person. Um, a lot of the people that I've met in this thing, a lot of people, other people would say, "Oh, they're broken people," and yeah, everybody in this thing kind of has a little bit of a screw loose in one way or another. But I've always sort of felt like I was a breed apart in that regard. I've only met a couple of people that I felt were at my level, and I'm not going to say they were. One is famous, uh, but for the most part, actually, the guys in this thing are all actually pretty normal. It's just they've more been failed by society, I think, and so they have a lot of problems, but these problems could be fixed. Um, Really, I am the broken toy out of all of these other people. If you ask me, uh, I'm just not right. And from my research, I never will be. I used to be a lot worse when I was a younger man. I've gotten better. I couldn't tell you how. I guess just time and effort. Maybe just time. I don't know. So, yeah. Honestly, every other woman that I was ever interested in the traditional way was bad news. I don't know if they are now. I hope not. I wish them all the best. But at the time, they were bad news for one reason or another. So when I realized that, I said, I need to just find a girl who checks off the boxes, and whether I have that thing that you're supposed to have doesn't matter. And my wife has knows that, and she doesn't really understand it, and that's not really helped our thing. So yeah, um, she's out of town right now. Chicken is going to gluten-free camp again, and I know she'll have a great time. I won't really hear any stories. I know because she's not really good about that. Maybe that's my fault or my DNA's fault. But I know she'll have a great time because she was enthusiastic about wanting to go back this year. So that's going to be good. So yeah, I'm just sitting here alone in my basement, a single candle lit to my impromptu shrine to Venerable Bishop Sheen to ask for his intercession in being a good broadcaster, and also, frankly, I don't know, maybe he could help me with other shit too. And I know what he said about Vatican II. I don't even want to get started on that, frankly. I have a whole thing on that. Not the place for this in episode 1 million. So, yes, I probably fucked that up, but those are from the heart. Those are the things that I can think of that I love about my wife. You know, when things are going well, they go very well for us. And I have her to thank for that. She puts a lot of hard work into being the homeschool, stay at home mom, full time mom, driving the kid around to different things, just being there while I'm at work or asleep because of my schedule. Yeah, yeah, she puts in a lot. And there's a lot of women that would not do that. So I'm usually pretty bad about letting her know that I appreciate that. Why? Sometimes, admittedly, it's I'm not thinking about it. I have my own worries and concerns, usually related to my job. And sometimes, I don't know, I always feel like I have to wait for like the perfect moment, and it never comes, so I don't say anything. And maybe I should just not wait for that perfect moment anymore, and even if it seems ridiculous, to just come out with it, maybe I should do that because that's a big part of it for me. I draw back because I'm like, oh, this is a bad time to say, I love you and I'm so glad that you're here to handle all these things so that we can have this life that so many people feel like is impossible for them to have. You know, yeah, like I said, maybe it's not right. I tend to be the type that I blame everything on myself, whether or not I really do have any culpability. But I don't know any other way to be. And in this situation, I really do feel like this is basically all my fault. You know, mm, when sorry for the pausing. Um, Man, I've been doing this show now for what, 3 years? Close to four, I want to say. What a ride it's been, man. It's been amazing. Um, so what happens now? Well, I'll get to that later. Uh, let's see. On my agenda, talked about how great my wife is. She's also the best cook I've ever encountered, frankly. Like, her food is great. Um, she always cooks the steaks right. She'll just experiment and create weird dishes, and they turn out tasty. Um, it's a big reason why I married her, frankly. You know, she's got a lot of talents. Um, I love her intelligence. You know, I've always said and told other guys that intelligence is not really super necessary in a wife as long as she's not insecure about it. Uh, if she's just like, yeah, I'm not too smart and that's okay because, I'm a good mom, whatever, that's fine, frankly. Um, but it helps with the homeschooling and it helps with a lot of things, frankly. Doesn't help with conversation because so oftentimes it'll be like, so the thing, oh yeah, the thing, I know the thing. Oh, okay, well, then I guess, okay, okay. Like we just head each other off at the pass to where we just end up not talking because we've already worked it out on paper, as it were. Um, so that can make conversation a little bit awkward, but you know, um, in a lot of other ways, it's good. So, um, yeah. Sorry, this is not easy for me. So I think I want to go to the next segment, and I'm going to play some music, and we'll go to the next segment.
So don't forget to send
Naked Eyes. Deep cut there from the basically one-hit wonder with their hit Promises, Promises. That was No Flowers, Please. And that's right, folks. No flowers, please. Not necessary. And frankly, I don't think I really even deserve them. Like I said, I fucked up a lot. And I wish I could do things differently. I wish I could fix things, make some kind of reparations. I'm really clueless as to how I possibly could at this point. I decided before I was just going to keep going and everything would work itself out. And I think it was going that way, but yeah, then this latest shit happened, and now I basically have to put more work into my marriage, and so that means that Fatherland has to go away, because it just, my wife is just too bitter about it. And you might say that's not fair. Honestly, some of it is. So I thought I would also take the time to reminisce a little bit, kind of do a post-mortem, as it were, as I stare down at the corpse of this thing that I created and loved and nurtured, except albeit poorly, and that I had to take the stunner and hit it in the back of the head with and put it down myself. You know, the whole reason that I started the show, a lot of people thought, because frankly, a lot of you people out there are extremely poor at consuming media and understanding what is going on. You know, you want to talk about how the Jews run all this stuff, and then yet you will just uncritically absorb it at the same time. Geller man amnesia is the best term I've seen for this. I believe it was coined by somebody at MPC. The idea being that you can, and no, actually, I think it was coined by Michael Crichton. The idea that you can read a newspaper article about something that you're a subject that you're an expert in, and you can sit there and read it, and you'll be like, "Well, this guy's an idiot. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about at all." And then you turn the page, and you just go and read the next article uncritically. Geller man amnesia. It's a problem with media, and more people need to be aware of it, and more people need to check themselves. But one common misconception was that the whole point of the show was to talk about being a dad and, changing diapers and mowing the lawn and shit like that. But really, it was really just what I really wanted it to be was like the TDS, but formerly the Daily Showa, but for grown older men. This was back in 2015, I believe, when Mike Enoch called for more content. He said, we need more content, we need more podcasts. And I said, well, I can do that, I think. But what would I do a show about? What do I have to say? And I realized that part of what I had to say was related to my experience of being a father. And also part of it was related to my experience of being on the older side compared to a lot of the other guys in this thing. So what I wanted it to be was like that. I wanted it to be that kind of a friendly conversation, freewheeling amongst men but mainly amongst mature men, men who had had the experience of being a father, because I thought that that gave the show more gravitas. I knew already, I was already listening to all of the podcasts that were popping up, and I knew what I liked and I knew what I didn't like. One thing that I didn't like was guys half my age telling me about things like they were some kind of sage sitting on top of a mountain. It would usually just make me laugh because I would just be like, oh boy, here we go. I appreciated the earnestness of it, though. So I could never hate on these guys too much. But I thought, there just needs to be a space for the older guys. And also, my favorite parts, especially of those early episodes of TDS, were when Sven would just go off about his life, being a dad, and just the non-Jewish stuff, just the non-Nazi stuff, where he was just like, oh man, I got the new Iron Maiden album or whatever, talking about it. I was like, yeah, I like that. We need some of that. We just need everybody just relaxing. There's plenty of space to be racist and homophobic or whatever. Without being so, I don't know, earnest and try hard about it. I just really just wanted it to be like I had this image in my mind of like if you ever been to one of those big family barbecues, and what usually happens is like the men will sort of gravitate to around the fire, and the kids will be running around and doing whatever. Maybe there's a pool and they're swimming in the pool, or maybe there's some kind of play structure and they're climbing on it and playing on it. And the women are off in their corner just doing their thing. They're all just gossiping or doing, woman talk with each other. Trying to establish who is the queen bee, I guess. And so the men go congregate around the fire pit and just have manly conversations. I also folded in a little bit of my experiences as a cigar smoker. I really liked going to cigar stores and hanging out in the lounge. You meet some very interesting men if you hang out there long enough. I met cops, I met firefighters, I met EMTs, I met, software engineers, I met CEOs, all kinds of people. And it's a relaxed environment, and you can just kind of shoot the shit and just have real conversations about things with people that you would probably never really have the opportunity to approach in the outside world. But you're all part of that club. You're all part of that cigar smoking club. And there's a certain cachet that comes with that. A certain, it's that milieu you're expected to sort of be like, well, I might be kind of a liberal, but I still smoke cigars. So, I can't be a complete faggot, right? That kind of thing. And so I wanted it to be like that. And I feel like I was able to achieve that in season 1. I had, in my opinion, the finest people in this thing as panelists on my show. And honestly, it was the kind of thing where I kind of started to feel like it wasn't even completely under my control. Like it just fell into my lap. Kind of an amazing feeling, kind of a scary feeling. Because in one respect, I sort of felt like the finger of God, the Holy Ghost had come down and just like ding, and just like touched this enterprise. And at the same time, it was also scary because I had no idea what I was doing. And I, frankly, I feel like I did not have the skills to really keep it going properly. And so that's why it kind of all went off the rails, I guess. So then I brought it back for season 2. I did a different format. Um, and I felt like that worked pretty well, actually. I just wish I'd had more callers. But, you know, if I would have been out there more on Twitter, I guess, flogging it, maybe I could have done more. I've always been really bad about that kind of thing. It just doesn't occur to me. It's not like I'm like, oh, I know I should go post on Twitter, but I don't want to because I'm lazy. It was more just like I just didn't think of it. I had other things going on. Even if I didn't have other things going on, I had other things going on in my head. I just didn't think of it. You know, that world of social media. It's something that is not a part of my mental space, I guess. I don't think about it. It's like it doesn't really exist to me. Um, and when I do go out there, I don't know. I feel very awkward, you know, and I usually am pretty awkward. So, yeah. So, like I said before, what now? Well, now, for right now, the RSS feed is going down. Like I said, I'll leave the YouTube channel up until I decide it's time to take it down. So if I were you, if you want to have these things, download them. Uh, Off of YouTube, I recommend. Well, no, I can't recommend that because a lot of these shows are longer than 2 hours. Um, yeah, I don't know. You'll have to find your solution for that. Um, if not, well, I still have them all here on my hard drive. It's a solid state, so I think it'll last quite a while. And yeah, if I ever do a go live again, I might bring them back. I certainly don't have anybody else to answer to for season 2, that's for sure. Unless Hook decides to tell me that he wants to go dark and he wants me to take that up, you know, his every episode that he was on, which was basically all of them, down. I mean, that's the number one question that I get now is, hey, where's the old episodes? Well, they're all gone. And they're not coming back. Because basically, there was just too many docs scares, not related to us, but related just in general to alt-right podcasts. So basically, everybody who appeared on the show said, hey, can you take down every episode that has me on it? And as a result, that basically ended up being the entire back catalog is gone. So for those of you who are lucky enough to have heard those, congratulations, I guess, are in order. For those of you who weren't, I'm sorry. Maybe there's bootlegs floating around. I don't know. Ask around is all I can say. Who knows? I know there was one guy that was archiving everything. Don't know if he still has that archive or not. But yeah, I feel like I'll be able to fit into my life, even with the difficulties in my marriage, appearing on other shows. because as a guest, it's a lot easier for me to control my mouth, frankly, and because not so much is dependent upon me talking. Um, so yeah, I think I'll be available for that. I'm not going to completely fade away into that outer void where all of your favorite right wing personalities disappear to when they go away. That semi Valhalla, but I see it as being more of the traditional Greek sense of what the underworld was like, just this ghostly world of people just kind of shuffling around. And yeah, I don't, I wouldn't feel like I qualified anyway, even if that was even if that was what was on offer. I wouldn't feel like I qualified. But yeah, I feel like now I'll be able to show up on other shows if they would have me. Um, as usual, people kind of forget that I exist, which is a lot of it's my fault. Like I said, I don't go on Twitter a lot. I don't post on Facebook ever. Ugh, well, so I kept it going as long as I could, guys. But at this point, I just had to say, I just had to say enough because I really did feel like it was either I end this thing or, I'm risking doing more damage to my marriage, which is more important. Sorry, just is. Because at the end of the day, I've got not just one, but now two kids depending on me to keep this thing together. And not just that, but keep it together in a healthy way. Because, frankly, going forward, if you came from a two-parent household that was healthy, then you are going to get a huge boost in life. Fuck going to Harvard. It's going to be that, and that alone, I think, that really is going to give you your kids a huge advantage over the other ones. So that's what I'm trying to do. Um, I hate to do it though, but because I really do feel like I was blessed, at least for a while. And then I guess I fucked that up and ruined everything. And I lost the mandate of heaven. I don't know. I'll never forget all the great memories, though. All the great people that I got to meet who were fans of the show. All the great men that came on the show. I just was so astounded by their quality and their dignity and their strength and their just how they made me feel like a complete piece of shit. Even Borzoi, actually. Um, yeah. Yeah. Well, I kind of out of things to say. So I guess what I need to do is go through and say thank you to as many people as I can call to mind first and foremost, thank you to all of you who were fans of the show. I still maintain that the fans of the Fatherland were the top quality people in this thing. If you were a fan of the Fatherland, you were a cut above. Uh, because I don't know. I don't know why. I just know that everybody that I met who said that they loved my show, I never thought I never had anybody that I thought was a piece of shit tell me that. Uh, I had a lot of anxiety about that at first, and then okay, well, there was that one guy, but there's always that one guy, you know? There really is always that one guy. You know who I'm talking about. And God bless him. I hope he got some help. Oh man, memories. But yes, thank you to all of you who supported the show, not even just monetarily, but because that really wasn't so important. It was more just knowing that we were making an impact with the mission. That helped keep me going a lot. Thanks to the right stuff and Sven in particular for being a fan of the show and putting us on their network in the beginning, even though I grew to feel like I needed to leave due to philosophical disagreements. I never felt like it was something where I was burning a bridge, just more like I had to go forge my own path. And I wish them all the success, which they're certainly having. And those days, man, 2015, 2016, what a time. Uh, let's see. Thanks to Braden O'Fahey, who taught me a lot about audio. I don't know how much of it made an impact, but some of it did. Um, Without him, the show could not have become what it was in terms of its quality. And yeah, he's a good guy too. He's a real good old boy from Texas, and I hope he's doing all right. Seems like he is. He still posts on Facebook sometimes. Um, and all the other, well, no, before Braden, after Braden, I'm going to say thanks, Borzoi. You know, the whole idea of having an intern kind of started as a joke. Uh, and I put it out there, and then I started getting people sending me their resume, like their legit resume. Like, hey, I would like to be the Fatherland intern. Here's my resume. One guy from the UK was like, here's my CV. Curriculum vitae, by the way, is what they call it there. Uh, and but Borzoi's, it wasn't that he had the most impressive resume. It was more that, uh, frankly, he was in a place where logistically it would work better. And I don't know, it was just something about it. I was just like, yeah, this guy seems like he's got something. Boy, did he. I don't know if I can really. I'm not really saying like I'm trying to take credit or anything. I don't know. If the Fatherland hadn't existed, would Borzoi be a thing now? I don't know. But like I said, I'm not going to take any credit for it. I'm just going to say thanks. Thanks for all the great memories. And all the other cast members, Joe, Telecaster Joe, Coach, Sam, who disavowed me, but that's okay. Uh, Salty. What a story in and of itself, you know. Just here's this guy just bullying me constantly, and then he came on the show, and I kind of feel like he's a friend, although I'm not sure. Kind of is. Can never be sure about guys like that. At least me, because you're always waiting for them to hit you. But you know, that's my own neuroses, not him. It's not on him. And also, people that some of you may not have even have heard because they were from so early in the show, like Heydrich. I hope that guy's okay. He was in a real bad spot. He's from Germany, you see. I hope he's all right. Haven't heard a word. Captain Confederacy seemed like a pretty solid guy. Hope he's doing well. Haven't seen. He used to be real active on Twitter and then just poof. You know, that's what I did not want to happen with this whole thing. I did not want to go poof. I did not want to just disappear. To just do the French leave, where I just kind of fade back into the shrubbery, and the next everybody looks around. They're like, "Hey, what happened? Where did that guy go? What happened?" And there's lots of questions, and because honestly, it never leaves anybody with a good feeling. It always kind of leaves people feeling uneasy and a little sad, and I don't want to use the term closure, but you know, like nobody got a chance to say goodbye. Hell, if you're laying in a bed dying, get a chance to say goodbye. I think that matters. I never got a chance to say goodbye to so many of people that I really liked in this thing, and they just went away. I never liked that, so I'm not doing that. Today is your chance to say goodbye. Thanks, Postmaster Ron. Big supporter of the show. I always enjoyed his handwritten notes that he would send me, especially because they usually had money in them. JK, lol. He could have just sent. He would sometimes just send me cards with no money in them, and that was okay too. I liked hearing from Postmaster Ron. Holding it down up there in Canada. Hope he's doing all right. Fascist father, the first official patriarch of the fatherland, for donating a stupid amount of money that I didn't deserve. Thank you. Thank you. I every time that kind of thing happened, it just made me just want to run away as fast as I possibly could, because I was like, I am nowhere near what these people seem to think that I am. But it was you people that kept me coming back, because you said how important it was to you. And I don't completely understand why, but from the way that you expressed yourselves to me, I kind of do. And yeah, I'm just sorry that it's come to this, because I feel like I'm letting everybody down. But I just don't see a way to tough it out through this. I feel like I have to stop. I toughed it out before, and yeah. So who else am I forgetting? I mean, all the people that would send things to my P.O. box. Arthur. John Glubb with his very good art. I have that put away in a special place. I need to get some little frames for those. They're worthy of framing. Very talented artist. Ludwig von Fasch, who created, in my opinion, the best show art out of any show on the alt-right. Frankly. Fantastic. For as much as people wanted to be autistic about eye color and shit, whatever. Dead bang, nailed it. Perfect composition, captured the feel of the show instantly. Just so... Art is magical to me. I can't really draw. I don't have any artistic talent in that way. So it always seems very magical to me, the idea that a guy sits down with a pencil or a brush and just like he's just making strokes left, right, up, down, just going, and then all of a sudden, like, it just conforms into this image. It's amazing to me. Something I'm incapable of doing. Yeah, and I felt really honored that somebody wanted to do that for me. I think Boatsinger did some things for us too, way back when. I don't know if he's still around or not. I feel like he's not, and then he pops up every now and again. There's so many people. I'm not going to remember everybody. Sorry. Maybe I should have made a list. But thank you all. Like I said, it was a chance to feel, for me, like I was really doing something important. And it made me feel like I was important. Even though it's not about me, I can't deny that I was part of it. And so as much as I might sometimes feel like, and you may even feel now like your feelings were misplaced, what a ride. What a fucking ride, man. Amren, first year WrestleMania. I have a lot of regrets. But I don't regret that I was there, that I was present at the creation, as they say. And that in my own small way, I was a part of it. So, some housekeeping things. Fatherland social groups will remain open. I see no reason to close them. They are not super active anymore, which I'm disappointed in. It's probably my fault. But I liked the idea of, like, somehow, just creating this, like, little mini community. It seemed like it worked. On Facebook, on the Riot chat. It seemed like it worked. Though I will no longer have any incentive to, I'm going to keep my Twitter account open and get on there. Just because I like Twitter. And I like getting on there and mixing it up a little bit. Talking to people, seeing what other people are saying. That's mostly why I like it. I've always been a lurker at heart, So don't worry about those things. And, well, I don't know what else there is to say. Uh, Goodbye. Yeah, goodbye. You know, I can't say it any better than this guy did, so I'm just going to play this, and then I'm going to play some music, and then until next time, I want to wish all of you out there many suns and a lot of guns. I'll see you around.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Drove all night to the Everglades until we crashed it in a big electric storm. Stood there listening